Come Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Curtis Peterson, who is the Senior Vice President of Operations at RingCentral. Welcome to the show, Curtis.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. So great to have you on the show. I am thrilled about RingCentral doing so well in the UCaaS market. You guys have been a leader, Magic Quadrant leader for 6 years, and you recently acquired Glip. And there's a product called Glip. So very excited to talk to you. I know you have a title of the SVP of operations, but when I talk to you, I feel like you're a lot more of like head of strategic initiatives to help the company grow in the right direction.
Yes, I think this started a few years ago when I came in and said, hey, let's take this thing and make it a global company. Let's try and run communications in a bunch of different countries around the world, which traditionally had been something communication companies had not done. And I think taking that kind of technology strategic thinking and applying it to the rest of our business and how we do our innovation and how we roll out globally and how we attack the marketplace has become way more part of my role than, say, the everyday normal version of the word operations.
That's right. I'm thinking, oh, wow. You play such an essential role because you're looking at, okay, what are the great ideas that RingCentral should focus on and dedicate resources to making that come true. And often this is investing for the future. So picking the right idea will help you to accelerate that leadership position, or it's going to cause you to go in the wrong direction and competitors can take over. So it's exciting to talk to you because I want to hear all about the way you think you approach this, because you have been there for many years and you've helped RingCentral to retain that leadership position. So talk to us about your mindset. What do you look at? How do you go about picking the right ideas to invest?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll just start off right off the bat, and it's no credit to me, but you have to start in the right place. And when you look at the vision of our founders, company's 15 years, 16 years old, but their vision starts almost 19 years ago. They went with a mobile first strategy right out the gate, and they went remote work. Before we even used the term remote work, they were work from any device and it needs to be mobile enabled. Right before iPhone 1 was even out. So when you start with a vision that's that accurate so far in advance, keeping up with those decisions is harder than you might think. But starting in the right place gave us a framework for what we were trying to do. We wanted to focus exclusively on improving business outcomes. So when digital transformation became a big buzzword, we were right there. We've been doing digital transformation for years. We didn't know what you called it, but we were helping customers move them off of their prem, get them into the cloud, let them open and close offices wherever they want to on the fly. We were working with banks so they could open a branch, close a branch whenever there was a disaster or something else going on. I think there's just a lot of natural overlap there, but just being, just enough ahead is the right key there, and not so far ahead that you lose purpose-driven innovation and technology for companies. Because at the end of the day, there is a ROI, there is a benefit that has to be gained.
Okay, let's talk about, for example, the decision to acquire Glip and the product strategy behind all that. How did you look at the different, I guess I could say, the trends that are taking place, the competitive landscape, and how do you end up picking Glip?
Yeah, so our acquisition of Glip, I think it's almost 5 years now, 4 years and change ago, we were looking at where communications were going. And if you think of where we were 4 or 5 years ago, enterprise telephony was still the lead communication method. You would still walk into a conference room and some of them still didn't have video cameras in them. It was just the phone in the middle of the desk, the starfish in the middle that you would dial into a conference bridge on. But what we were seeing was that especially younger generations were communicating in many different ways. They would be just as happy shooting off a text using their thumbs as they would sitting down writing a formal memo, which a baby boomer would more or less do. So our vision was very simple. Our vision was we had to be able to work across the entire spectrum. We had to cater to the baby boomers or the older generations in the workforce and not alienate them with technology and things that they weren't comfortable with using or weren't easy enough to use to start with. Don't make their day any harder than it already is. They've got a full career in. They're bringing intelligence and expertise in. And then you got a young crowd that's coming in going, I want to do it my way. I don't want to do it their way. How do you bridge these? And we found that a tool that this company Glip had started, in Florida, had a really good idea around not just messaging. There's a lot of messaging platforms out there, but file sharing, the ability to integrate with other file sharing platforms. So you weren't stuck with one platform or another. Everyone knows there's, pretty much every business out there has a couple of different file sharing platforms stuck in there, whether the IT team likes that or not. Seems to be reality. And we're gluing all that together. On top of that, make it a platform you can code against. You can write integrations with our Glip platform. You can have your contact center, for example, if the SLAs are starting to be missed, send you notifications in teams and groups. It can be automatically escalated across management teams, things along those lines. And we were telling, wow, this just fits with the modes of communication we're already super familiar with. So we already know how to pick up a phone and talk. We already know how to go into a video conference room and start up a video conference room. We already know how to do whiteboard sharing. We know how to do all these different modes. What's the glue? And we decided that Glip would probably be the glue to those communication methods. So when you step into Glip today, and we've grown it up, we've made it enterprise class, we've put all the security features on it, we really improve quality, speed, performance, all the things you would expect in an application like that. When you step into Glip today, it already has enterprise telephony. It has the ability to do room-based video meetings, or what we're doing right now, which pretty much everybody is the remote and on-the-fly video meetings. All of that, file sharing, task management, calendar sharing, calendar integration, synchronization of contacts, all the things you would think of in the typical, problem stack of what's going on in enterprise communications, all in one place, tied together, we thought was the right answer for the business marketplace.
That sounds wonderful. I mean, when I think about how well Slack is doing, how well Zoom is doing, um, I thought, Glip sounds like it's that one solution that provides all these wonderful benefits that you would want from both platforms and a lot more, right?
Yeah, that's certainly our hope, is that we're providing something differentiated in that space. And we think our differentiation is a couple of key places. If you look at one of those origins, they were very much targeted at developers. We were always targeted at the entire enterprise. So everything that we looked at for UI, UX, or user interface and user design, we were looking to be able to use anywhere in any company, including frontline workers. We have companies that have, high school or teenage workers, things along those lines, all the way to your formal enterprise workplace. They were able to use the same tool set. There wasn't a special club. There wasn't somebody was familiar with every / command and would write little script codes in their chat functionality. We support things like that, but we wanted to have a unified environment for everybody in the workplace. And we think we've done that better than what the other competitors have done in this space for businesses.
Okay, well, I'm excited about Glip and I'm certainly going to give it a try. I want to ask about the future with all of these trends that are taking place. And, as users, we're always looking for more, right?
Mhm.
Personally, for me, I would love to have this video recorded and with the caption automatically, the transcript and all of that. Uh, Talk to us about what you look forward to doing and how you arrive at certain ideas versus others.
Yeah, so I think, one of the things we're really looking for right now in this, year of the pandemic, when we all scattered out of the offices, and for those of us who were fortunate enough to continue working, we noticed that by and large, the tool set that was available in the marketplace was very single channel. There was a really good video platform. There was a really good chat platform. There was a really good email platform. There was a really good file sharing platform. But when you started to merge them all together and try and make something that actually made sense for people to do their daily jobs in, that didn't exist. That's where RingCentral was really focused on. How do we keep meeting fatigue low? How do we make sure that there's most meetings don't happen spontaneously. There's something that happens before the meeting starts, a plan, agenda, a question. If you're interacting with customers, it's a prospect opportunity. There's some pre-meeting event. Of course, then you've got the meeting itself, which can be video, can be audio, but typically right now we're seeing a lot of video out there. That's great. It needs to happen from anywhere. We know that. So we have to be intelligent about how we design our products to be conducive to 4 or 5 people in the house streaming at the same time, right?
Yep.
That wasn't a consideration too long ago, but we designed that into our system to be able to scale up and down the amount of bandwidth it uses to a very small amount. Where a lot of apps were just going, well, just consume everything. That's the new norm. And we were going, no, wait a minute. What happens if everybody gets on the same network? And you got to look at technology decisions, use case decisions, and then also, this post-meeting idea. Like when the meeting ends, is the work really finished? You've probably either agreed on something, you've agreed on next steps, or you've disagreed on something. All of them need to be fleshed out over the time and with the same group of people. And in our product suite, we make that super seamless. The meeting doesn't necessarily end the second the video gets turned off. It's a continued experience of completing actual work. And when you talk to large enterprises, they're like, look, we're looking for efficiencies. We're looking for worker productivity. We're looking for people to enjoy the tools they use and not loathe them every morning they get up. And that's what I believe we've put into our ecosystem. And I think you touched on a perfect one there. It's out now. If you go sign up for Glip, you can try it out. Real-time closed captioning. The typical use cases, we need to mute real quick, right? The dog goes crazy in the background, a child runs in the room, who knows what happens in the background of meetings these days. Some of them aren't even safe for work to discuss, but there's often this need to be able to mute yourself. But guess what? You still probably need to know what's happening on the other end. And if you can just quickly for a few minutes, just turn your attention to reading the bottom of the screen, instead of being able to hear it, you don't get lost in the meeting, or certainly you would catch your name being called out or other things like that. So you don't have this lost cycle of, hey, Curtis, no, Curtis, you're on mute, Curtis. And now we're back into the session again. So the continuity of work, the effortlessness that needs to go along with it, those are really important pieces when you scale that up times, millions and millions of business users. Remember, at the end of the day, somebody's paying these people a salary to do their job, and they have to produce results in there. Not just most people don't get to paid to sit on video, but those who do, they're fortunate. Those who don't have to actually do work between those video sessions.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of many requests to put in improving that customer experience or that user experience, because as with my show, I'm always doing the video calls. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the advancement in this unified communication, enabling us to enjoy this interaction remotely, especially during this year of staying at home.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And I think there's really in 2021, our hope, of course, is that this pandemic starts to get behind us, and there's going to be a new way of doing work. I know that phrase is so tired, and I apologize for that, but some of us are going to go back to the office. Some will go back en masse, some will not. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of a break for essential workers. They've been really carrying the risk load for the rest of us for the better part of a year now under this pandemic. But what we're looking for is, what are the tools that are going to be with the businesses long term? We will be back into some collaboration spaces. So we can't just forget about collaboration the last year, because collaboration and working in the same room just hasn't been happening. So we didn't stop working on collaboration, right? We've kept moving that innovation forward, and we have some exciting things in that space too, with being able to integrate people so they feel like they're part of the room, even if they're not necessarily in the room. We see this hybrid nature of part at home, part commute, or people that come in a couple of days a week, but not every day of the week. To make that sustainable long-term, the experience for the remote person and the person in the room has to be very similar on that. So things like virtual backgrounds, not super exciting things out there, but virtual backgrounds are important for a lot of reasons. But one of the things that we do is we wrote our own virtual background suite. We don't rely on the technology that's in the camera. We don't rely on the technology that's built into a phone, or the technology that's built into a laptop, or some other technology that provides virtual background services for us. We wrote our own AI virtual background. Why do that? That's a lot of work, and expensive work at that, because AI talent is very expensive in today's marketplace. Why would we go to do that? Our approach to this was very simple. It's any device, anywhere, any form. And if I'm going to work from a conference room with hardened video equipment in it, I'm going to work from my laptop, I'm going to work from an iPad, I'm going to work from a mobile phone or device. All of these now have video cameras in it. I want my virtual background settings to be the same. I want them to perform the same. I want them to look the same. I don't want to load my image across 7 different devices. I have a background I like to use. Why do that? We took all that out. It doesn't matter where you come in from. Your profile is with you, and that virtual background is with you, and there's no dependency on that local hardware.
That's a great example of how you're investing to actually have your own virtual background. And it's something that will make it easier for me to be able to do that call, whether I'm in the car with my phone or at home with my laptop. So thanks for sharing the example of how you approach bringing out new ideas that matters.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we like to do. And we can't thank our customers enough either, because they really are a source of a lot of the information we look for. And we just don't go in there necessarily and say, well, what's the problem? Let's fix the problem. How do we fix that problem for everybody? And when we get, an issue like that, we go, oh, okay. So we have a large client in the UK. They run a bunch of grocery stores. And we learned that grocery stores basically make their profits off of a few key departments. It's usually meat and poultry, alcohol and beverage sales, flowers department, things like that. Those are the high gross margin areas of a grocery store. They're also high touch. To get the meat you want, you need to know when it's ready. You got to be able to come pick it up. Things along those lines. If you're just looking for something on the canned good aisle, no reason to talk to anybody at the grocery store. Well, grocery stores generally all worked the same way. If you went in there and you were lost or you didn't know where to go, they would page somebody. You could hear it over the loudspeaker, floral line 3, floral line 3. Well, we found out that floral line 3 was not getting answered all the time, because it was requiring someone to be physically at a phone or near where the phone stations were. So enter our platform we mentioned a minute ago, Glip, and our ability to do voice and video directly from the Glip client. This grocery store put the entire store into all the queues. So when a call comes in for flowers or comes in for meats, it goes to the meat queue first. If those guys can't grab it, then it's open for the rest of the employees to be able to come in and take that customer call and serve that need. So we actually, through that effort, working with that particular customer, they were actually able to capture lost revenue opportunities. So there's technology with an actual benefit at the end of it, but it did require, one, a good technology platform, but two, it was a behavior change for the grocery store itself. They had to go along with the digital transformation of, hey, we're not going to page people anymore. We're not going to do it. Everybody's going to have an app. It's going to be on their device. We're going to embed it in there, and they'll be able to participate in the business flow and supporting customers.
Wow, that's a great story that I did not know that. So that's good for the consumer who's shopping. It's good for the business in driving further better customer experience and better revenue for them. Thank you so much, Curtis, for being on the show to talk about RingCentral, the innovation, and how you go about picking the right ideas for the company.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
There you have it. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Curtis Peterson from RingCentral.